So we all have that one anime that's been at the top of our watch list for years. And for me, that said anime has always been Serial Experiments Lain. I've always had a certain fascination with anime from the late 90s to mid 2000s. So I finally sat down and watched the show recently. And damn, I never thought an anime would confuse me more than Evangelion did, but shit, here we are. I've taken psychedelics multiple times in my life and they never made me feel as high as I did watching this show. Okay, so that's a lie, but you get the point.
Shinji, crank that, soldier boy.
When I first watched Eva, I was able to piece together a decent amount of the plot and themes by myself. In Evangelion, there's at least a little plot you can gather. Ooh, big robot fight big monster. But Serial Experiments Lain would just start randomly giving you a history lesson about American politics, and then an alien shows up. Nigga, who is that? I mean, my goofy ass go straight to YouTube after I finished that shit, cause I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But even as I was going episode to episode with no clue about what the hell was happening, I still was amazed by how Lain managed to engage me in the maze they called a plot. While watching this in the dark room, it felt like I was almost absorbed into the world myself. You can just feel the pure creativity bursting through every frame, every slow pan, every camera zoom. It's got a particular stillness throughout the episodes that slowly builds the suspense as you continue. All these small details add up to cast a feeling of insanity Lain is going through. And these small details definitely paid off, because even to this day, 24 years later, people are still talking about this show, still using Lain for their moody emo edits. It's always dope to see when a show creates a unique aesthetic so interesting and cool that people translate it directly into real life. And for an anime that came out in 1998, it's remarkably up to date on how the internet has affected us today. But before I get too deep, let's go over the basics of the plot first. Present day, present time. Our story begins during the busy night hours of an entertainment district. We are met with Chisa, a girl alone amongst a sea of grouped people. She climbs up to the top of a building and unfortunately meets an early death. After a cut to the next day, we then meet our main character, Lain. She's a shy and quiet reserved girl, but while on her way to school, the amount of noise is irritating her and she demands that everyone shut up. And they do. Me personally, I wouldn't go for that, but you know, hey. We immediately see that Lain is no normal student. When Lain arrives to class, she notices one of her classmates is crying. One of Lain's only friends, Alice, comes over to break down the situation. She explains that the girl crying received an email from Chisa, the girl who recently died. But the problem is that everyone is getting these emails from Chisa, even though she's been gone for at least a week by this point. Alice asks Lain if she got an email too, but Lain is a fucking boomer and she still hasn't really gotten used to computers yet, so she hasn't even checked. Later in the day during class, Lain seems to dissociate completely. The words written on the chalkboard turn to gibberish, and smoke begins to flow from her hands, reminding us once again Lain is not normal. At the end of the school day, Lain returns home. We then learn that her computer setup is mid as fuck. She can't even run Minecraft on that bit, boy. It is, however, good enough to check her email, and when she does, she realizes that she got an email from Chisa too. In this email, Chisa said that she has only lost her body, but not her consciousness, so she believes herself to technically still be alive. Lain asks her why she would do this, and Chisa says it's because God is here. At dinner time, Lain tries to tell her mom about the crazy things that have been happening, but she could not give less of a fuck. You damn bitch, listen to your kids. Later on in the night, Lain's father finally comes home, and it turns out bro is a gamer. Look at this fucking setup, fool. Nigga was ready to stream before streaming even existed. Turns out her dad is a huge computer lover, and when Lain says she wants a new setup, my man's is happy to oblige. W pops, W fatherhood. The next day, while Lain is on the train for school, they suddenly are stopped. The announcer says there was an accident, and everyone on the train is trying to figure out what happened, but sadly, Lain witnesses what caused this train to stop. Amidst the shock of seeing a dead body, Lain begins to have a vision. Or hallucination? Or, Okay, so this is where the show gets really tweaky, so I'm gonna just explain it how I understand. During this vision and or hallucination, Lain gets front row seats to watching this person jump in front of the train. Snap back to reality, Lain is back in class, struggling to stay focused. She looks at the chalkboard and once again, it starts to warp. Except this time, a message is revealed. It tells her to come to the wire, aka the internet of this world. Kinda, sorta. I mean, a little, maybe. Yeah, basically. On her way home, Lain sees Chisa blip into reality for a split second. She thinks she's tweaking, but Lain sees Chisa again when she turns around. Chisa has this creepy undead look in her eyes, and she disappears once more. And yeah, that's the first episode. So getting it out the way right now, Serial Experiments Lain is a masterpiece. 10 out of 10. The first thing that stood out to me about this anime was how fucking creative it was. Not only visually, but with the choices in sound design as well. The constant humming of the power lines really gives off the idea that technology is taking us in a bad direction. And you know what? They were fucking right, says the guy who's posting videos on the internet. But dude, you cannot convince me someone working on the show did not fucking trip balls right before coming up with the ideas. I love when anime follow a more show don't tell formula and display metaphors and characters' thoughts through crazy animation. But at the same time, even though they did show me, I barely knew what the fuck was happening. I have a basic understanding and a couple ideas of what took place, but it's dope that almost everyone has a different interpretation of what truly occurred in the story. Is the whole anime itself just a metaphor and a message, or does it actually have a point A to point B plot hidden underneath this fever dream? I personally think it's a mix of both. It's hard to deny the fact that Serial Experiments Lain has some level of commentary on the concepts of computers and how technology would affect the world. And it's so fucking crazy how a show that came out in 1998 was so spot on with the issues that the internet will create. From people being chronically online and letting their internet personas be more true to themselves than their real world variants, to people fusing to the online world and rejecting reality completely. It's almost like this anime predicted the fucking future, and with Lain coming out during the Y2K saga, it's weird to see a prediction be so accurate compared to the nonsense that people were shouting about computers at the time. Moving on to yet another fucky wucky part of the show, let's discuss characters. Even though we don't get to know the full backstories of everyone in this world, they're all still characterized so well that we come to understand and feel for them regardless. Alice is probably my favorite character in the show other than Lain, and it's because she's such a pure friend. I feel like it's rare to see such a realistic good friend in anime, and that goes for all eras. So to see such a caring and wholesome relationship in an anime amongst these mind-bending visuals and wacky ass plot, I fucks with the vision. Other than Alice though, the most intriguing thing about the characters to me is how effective they are as plot devices. Serial Experiments Lain doesn't have nearly as much dialogue as his peers, and because of this, everything characters say feels profound or meaningful, and it drop kicks the plot to fall into the next stage of development. You know we can't talk about Serial Experiments Lain and not talk about their music. Duvet has gotta be top 5 anime openings of all time. This shit is so fucking hard. I didn't even know this song was an anime OP until I started watching this show. Openings are a pivotal part of shows for many reasons. The main being that it sets the tone and the mood for this series right out the gate. The first time you hear this song, you already know this anime is gonna be a mindfuck. Duvet has such a nostalgic and melancholic sound to it, which gets you prepared for the chaos you're about to indulge in. The OP is not only good song in Lain, however. The entire OST is filled with pure heat, just straight fire. Folks was in the studio just making love to the instruments or something. This soundtrack messes with the aesthetic in such an interesting way because it feels like it's almost a character just as much as everyone else in the show, whether it's setting the tone or just bringing in dope ass melodies. This OST is peak. Blending in techno and synths with guitar and other classic instruments represents the way the world of Lain is in the middle of literally blending the classic world and the virtual world together. The way story is told through sound in this anime, damn, simply amazing. Okay, so here's the thing. Like I said, I had no idea what to fucking think after I finished this show. Pure confusion was just gripping my shit. I was highly discombobulated. So when I went to YouTube, it kinda helped, but not really. It feels like everyone has a different interpretation about what actually happened. So let's get into some fucking theories. Spoiler alert. Okay, so what the we about to get into it, my fault. Now my favorite theory, and the one that I think I believe the most, is that Lain herself is the form of the earth, making Lain like Gaia or some type of goddess. I agree with this one heavy also because this shadow looks mad earthly. You feel what I'm saying? Maybe I'm tweaking, but you know what I'm saying? This shit look mad earthly, you feel me? It's said at multiple points during the anime that the world's population is near the number of neurons in the brain, and at that point, the earth itself might form a certain unconscious sentience. I like this theory a lot because going back with this context, it's very interesting and explains almost all of the tweakiest moments of the series. Why can Lain turn into a fucking ghost all of a sudden? I mean, that could just be the Wired, but why can't she build the sickest fucking PC setup of all time with no experience? I fucking wish. Some other theories state that Lain is the Wired, aka the internet, kinda sorta maybe. Some people think she's an alien. Some people think she's some sort of other god. Either way, shows like this that force you to think and form your own opinions are always great because it builds a sense of community around the series. Even if you don't agree with someone else's ideas, presenting your own starts a dialogue. And as this show is still the topic with many discussions today, it seems that this plot has proved to be timeless. Now I want to ask you, yes, you nigga, what did you think about Serial Experiments Lain? I'm trying to discuss some theories and shit in the comments, so if you got any thoughts or maybe stuff that I missed, let me know. But yeah, all in all, this anime is a classic and for good reason. Anime from the late 90s to early 2000s era just have a certain vibe and aesthetic that's so sick and ageless. Maybe it's the nostalgia of going through the internet and looking at this era of anime when I was a kid that's beating my ass, but either way, I fucking love it. So yeah, that's the vid. Thank y'all for 400 subs. You know what I'm saying? We really out here, you dig? I fuck with y'all heavy. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? No cap, like for real. I'm working on a review for Soul Hackers 2 right now, but I'm still in the early stages. You know what I'm saying? This is gonna be my first game review, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think y'all gonna fuck with it though. You know what I'm saying? I just want to, you know, switch it up. You know what I'm saying? Diversify a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? Because how much bullshit seasonal anime can I fucking watch? You know, like this shit, bro. I can't keep watching Rent a Girlfriend, bro. This shit hurts. Like I had to take a break, bro. It's like I gotta take a week off, bro. This shit ass. But yeah, like I said, I'm trying to diversify, so you know, I'm gonna be talking about some manhwa and shit too. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, thanks again for all the support. I'll fuck with y'all. Have a blessed day. And deuces.